Congratulations on your success in the invitational event. There may not be points or prizes, but it still helps you look good.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2018 Career Mode. Today we are here for the Bahrain Grand Prix, round number 2 of season 4. But if you guys did miss round 1 for the Australian Grand Prix, then do check it out by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. Our debut in the Mercedes team, and you can get to see exactly how things went down in the Silver Arrow debut. But all in all, we arrived here in Bahrain with no upgrades on the car. However, we do have momentum on our side. We got a points finish in Australia, and it wasn't too bad. Spoilers, we qualified P18 and then we finished the race in 8th, so a good recovery considering how close the pack is for overall pace, and I can't be too disappointed with that performance, to be honest with you. And it's a good start to the season. And then we arrived here at Bahrain, and after practice the car didn't feel, the car felt good, but it wasn't reflecting in the pace. That's the good thing though. The car felt good, and that's what I'm looking for. With the Red Bull here, I wasn't really that comfortable, but with the Mercedes, I'm quite happy with the car. It's got a good balance. I've got a decent setup on, and all in all, I feel pretty happy with the car. I'm running my AOR setup, which is pretty extreme, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's pretty extreme in terms of like 9 on the ballast, I think, 2 or 1 on the front wing, and then 8 on the rear, something like that. It's a pretty extreme time control / league racing setup. But it's the fastest one I have, and to be fair, we came to qualifying and I knew we was going to struggle because the AI are very fast in quality. We all know this. They're a little bit quick, especially in Q1. They're definitely quicker than what they have been in other sessions, but I still feel confident that I can do a good job and perform to the high level and see if I can get something out of this session. And straight away, our first attempt is good enough for last place. 1.5 off the pace though, so not a million miles away to say we're in P20. And similar to Australia, the gap is pretty small, but now we're going to move on to our best attempt of Q1. We're going to try and get through into Q2. First of all, negotiating turn 1. We'll lock up on the right front there as we feed the car through turns 2 and 3 as we now go up the hill to turn number 4. Pretty equal now with our first attempt as we brake just before the 50 meter board down to 4th gear and 3rd to get the car rotated on the power early on as we now go down the hill into this nice sort of tricky swooping section as we go into the start of sector 2. Currently up on our delta now, and we're going to brake hard for this right hand hairpin. Use 2nd gear to rotate the front end and pick up the power as soon as you can as we go into turn 9, which feeds into the tricky turn 10. The very tight hairpin, where very easy to lock up the left front. We get a nice turning though, keep the car nice and balanced on entry, and we manage it quite nicely. Also trying to manage ERS here on this lap as well, because we do run out right towards the end of the lap if we run in hot lap all the way through, and so far we're doing a good job of that, along with improving our lap time as we go up the hill now towards the end of sector 2 into the start of sector 3 through these long swoopers as we now brake late for the right hander. Only a few turns down in sector 2 here, and this is a much better lap than our previous one, but we are only 1 and a bit tenths up on our previous best, with 1 more brake zone to go here on this lap. Braking just before the 50 meter board down to 4th gear, pick up your apex on the power very early, use the curb on the outside there, and we're going to open up DRS and run it up to the line. Do we improve off of P20? And the answer, I believe, is no, and we remain bottom of the pile and knocked out in Q1 for the 2nd successive race. But it's not that bad considering the fact that we have some pretty damn good pace. I do think we've got some good race pace in the car, and it's not really a true reflection of what we have, and I think we could do a good race if we play our strategy cards right. But you can see there, it's actually not that bad. We was pretty close to the rest of the pack, and it was generally quite a close qualifying, just like Australia. So it's not all doom and gloom, and hopefully we can turn it around tomorrow on Sunday for the race. So let's just jump into it for round number 2 for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
There's something in the Bahrain air tonight, and I'm not just talking about the sand. Our brightest minds have thrust their brightest ideas into the spotlight of the Sakhir circuit this evening as we look ahead once more to a Grand Prix that has thrilled us so consistently in the past. We'll be racing around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit today, with 15 corners and 2 DRS zones into turns 1 and turn 11. That should create some good passing opportunities. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left down into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. Anthony Davidson is here once again for today's Grand Prix. Now I want to ask you about Kimi Räikkönen. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Kimi Räikkönen's perfect lap yesterday sees him start from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Ocon, Valtteri Bottas and Alonso, Ricciardo, Verstappen, Gasly and Carlos Sainz, Leclerc, Magnussen, Nico Hulkenberg and Ericsson, Stroll, Grosjean, Brendan Hartley and Stoffel van Dorn, Sirotkin and Martinez. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Right then, here we are on the grid for Bahrain in the desert in Sakir. Now, ideally, I would have liked to have changed the difficulty to 105, probably in hindsight, but we're committing to this 110 AI, and let's see what happens. I'm looking forward to it in a way, because as bad as this race is for me, we've got nothing to lose, and that's the kind of positive side, positive spin I can put on this race. Also with the tyre temperature issues, we seem to put those to bed in Australia. Will those come back here today? I guess we shall find out. But first of all, we start from last place. Therefore, if we look at the race strategy, you can see on screen, we have a one stop with the softs onto the mediums. Looks like the softs are going to have to go quite a long way in this race, so we'll see what happens. The one stop's looking likely, but it's also going to be a pretty tough strategy to pull off. The alternate is to go very aggressive with supers and double softs, but we'll see what happens. Fuel-wise, we are half a lap extra in terms of fuel. That's where I'm going to keep it. I want to be relatively light and aggressive at the start. In terms of the setup, I want to show you guys what I'm running, because obviously I don't really show you guys my setups enough, and obviously for this race, I go all out in terms of I'm trying my absolute hardest to do the full-on sweat setup, and the AI is still too quick for me. So as you can see, we have 4.8 on the wings, 50-10 on the differentials, which I'm going to switch to 100-100 to have a bit more equal tyre wear across all four tyres for the race. Then we have camber and toe maxed out. Then obviously a suspension, brakes, which is to my personal preference. And then we have the tyre pressures and the ballast. So yeah, all in all, pretty much that's the setup. That is the strategy. And we're just going to jump into it here. And pretty much we've got nothing to lose, like I mentioned. So we're just going to go full steam ahead and try and be nice and aggressive on lap 1 and try and get as many places as possible. With that being said, let's just jump into it here for round 2 for the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's race time. Right then, here we go. Let's get the revs up and let's get ready for the 5 red lights here at Sakir. Lights out and away we go. Not the greatest start you'll ever see. Quite a bit of wheel spin in that second phase. The actual reaction to the 5 red lights was pretty decent. We're going to go up the inside of a multitude of cars here into turn 1. Really being aggressive and we're not messing around anymore. Around the outside of turn 2 through turn 3 up into P15 now. So it's a decent recovery from a pretty shoddy getaway. Up the inside of Hulkenberg here into turn 4. Magnussen and Leclerc in front of us going side by side. Hulkenberg is on soft, so he's someone that's on the same strategy as me. Therefore, we need to try and get ahead of him if possible. Going through the twisty and bendy corners here in the middle sector. Down the inside into the hairpin on Nico Hulkenberg. Going to run a nice wide line to squeeze him off. And that is us into 14th place now. As we've got Leclerc and Magnussen also both on softs. Going side by side here. Leclerc gets the better exit out of the 2. And we're just watching here. We're very close, but not really close enough. And looks like Leclerc's made that one stick and he takes P12. Now let's see if we've got the pace to follow these guys. These two in front are on the same tyre as me, like I mentioned. So the objective, at least in race pace, is to try and stay with these guys. Now I'm being completely realistic here when I say I'm probably not going to have to pace, but I'd like to think I might do in a fantasy world. But let's see what happens. Brendan Hartley behind me at the moment in the Toro Rosso. We can't forget how fast that bloody thing is on the straights, which is still pretty quick as we saw in Australia. So he's going to be with us now for company. I'm already losing ground here to Magnussen and Leclerc, so Hartley's going to go for the move down the inside. I'm not going to fight it too hard because there's not really much I can do about it. Instead, Hulkenberg goes up the inside of the pair of us here into turn 1. We're going to swing back underneath. I lose 2 places in one corner and Hulkenberg gets it done. What an incredible move that was.
Some information on Leclerc. They seem to have an issue.
Oh, Leclerc with car trouble, yellow flag. I wonder if he's had enough. No, it's actually someone else. It's a McLaren going slow. That's Fernando Alonso. I think he's got a puncture. He's out of the race. I think Fernando's out of the race. And Leclerc's got issues with his Sauber. And there you go, Alonso out of the race. Confirmation. And Leclerc in front already getting overtaken by multiple cars. As we set a personal best, the RS now enabled. So we're going to be in trouble here with Lance Stroll behind us in the Williams. All getting close to Hartley through there. We're going to pull to the right hand side. Up the inside of the Kiwi, up the inside of Hulkenberg as well, a 2 for 1 as we get back past both of those guys. Let's try and get past Leclerc if we can. Everyone's on the softs here, it seems, so we're all competing for the same piece of tarmac on the same strategy. Right, let's try and forget the slipstream on Charles Leclerc here and try and get past the Sauber driver. That yellow flag still out for Alonso's car, which is, I think, about to be recovered. We get the run up the hill here. Leclerc gets out the throttle, we pull to the inside, and we get the move done. There we go, up into P12 now. And we've got to try and pull away if possible. Leclerc's going to go side by side with Hulkenberg, so that's going to be my chance to pull away. Having said that, Hulkenberg has stayed close. Another personal best. Here comes Nico Hulkenberg in the Renault. He pulls to the inside. I'm going to give him a good old squeeze, but fair. Into turn 1, we're going to go for the switchback. We take too much curb though, and that's not going to help me out. And Hulkenberg is going to take that position back as we pick up our first track extend of the Grand Prix. But we're still in P13, and there's battles going on in front of us, so there's constant action here at Bahrain. It's all about staying in the race. If you stay in the race, anything can happen. VSC, safety car, or just a good old scrap, and you might have a chance of picking up some positions. This battle in front is really kicking off here. Ricciardo and Sainz are really on the back foot. And look at this, it's about to become a 5-car scrap. It's 24 cars, another personal best. And look at the straight line speed we're starting to pick up here. Down to turn 1, we're racing, and we're going to try and go for the re-overtake. Up the inside of multiple cars into turn 1. It's a massive dive. We lose the back end slightly on corner exit, and we have to sit behind Magnussen. But let's try and pick up the slipstream here. Up to turn 4. Can we go for the re-overtake? Not quite, and we have to sit behind him. But wow, that kicked off in a second. Instead we got past both of the Renaults, and we're now into P11. And we got Magnussen in front. Let's try and get past him. He's on the soft tyres as well. It'd be nice to get past that car if we could. Right at the final corner here, we're close to Magnussen. We've also got Hulkenberg right behind us. I need Magnussen's slipstream to really get the overspeed that I need. Going to turn 1, we're going to go 3 wide here. Who's the latest on the brakes? We're going to go through the middle. Can we pull it off? Yes, we do. And we get inside the top 10. What a fantastic overtake. Both myself and Hulkenberg get past Magnussen. We're going to cover off the inside here as Hulkenberg is coming back at us here. I've noticed my mirrors are actually a bit high up and they're not really ideal for racing. I need to lower those. But we do get the move done, and we're into the top 10, which is something I did not see coming. And another personal best through sector 1. Tyres feel great, no overheating issues. I seem to have fixed everything, so I'm very, very happy, and things are going out exactly... Actually no, they're going better than I expected. Way better than I expected. Exceeding my expectations. We equal our personal best. Here comes Magnussen though. He's going to come back at me with some DRS down to turn 1. Side by side into the brake zone. We're going to run a little bit deep on purpose to just go for the squeeze there, and hopefully he loses a bit of time to Hulkenberg, because if those guys behind start battling like they are right now, that's going to be my cue to try and pull away and build up a gap. There you go, you heard it, Valtteri in the pit lane. We're building up a gap here, we're pulling away from the battle behind, which is critical because I can drive at my own pace and manage my tyres, fuel and ERS. Up into 8th place though, well into the top 10 now, making decent progress. Look at the tyre temperatures, the fronts are brilliant. The rears are a little bit warmer, just above 100, but they're still well within range and in a beautiful window. This has been a very good drive so far, and I'm loving life on these tyres. A couple more cars in the pit lane. This time we've got 3 cars. A Toro Rosso, a Red Bull, and Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari. And we are now into the top 5. Right, Sebastian Vettel all over the back of me on fresh supers. I'm on for a personal best. I'm 3/10 up, running standard engine modes. However, I'm going to let Seb take the position because this way I'll pick up DRS on the pit straight. He's also on fresh super soft, so there's literally no point in me fighting the battle. I'm just going to focus on getting the slipstream and picking up the DRS, and also saving a little bit of fuel while we're at it. It's a good opportunity to save what I need to save. So P6, look at that, easily in the slipstream. There's Raikkonen. But we're just going to basically not waste time battling because we're not in this fight here today. At least not with the Ferraris. Vettel fastest lap as expected. We actually do a personal best of 29.8, and we're still going strong here. We're actually going to overtake Perez momentarily in the Force India. Right now Esteban Ocon is in the pit lane. Another personal best from me as Perez starts to close the gap. We're now up into P4 though. Right, here comes Sergio Perez. He's going to have the run on me here. I can't fight him because Hardy behind starting to catch back up again, so I'd rather just let him go, waste no time, Another personal best on that lap as well from me. We're scheduled to come in this lap, so I want to try and keep that gap to Hartley if possible. Right then, from P5, it's been a phenomenal first stint. I've just got stronger and stronger as the stint's gone on. I found more and more pace, and I feel really, really comfortable with this car now. Into the pit lane we go for our first and only stop of the Grand Prix. That was a really good stint in my opinion. Really like. The AI weren't as fast as I thought. Oh, we've been held up a little bit there by Magnussen. Not ideal. Luckily, then Magnussen's going to hold up Hartley for me, so it's even Stevens. But yeah, I was saying the AI weren't as fast as I expected them to be, so that kind of played into my hands as well. We're currently P12 on a set of medium compound tyres. Can we rejoin in front of this two-car pack here of Van Dorn and looks like Sirotkin as well. Tyres are cold, got to be careful on power inputs. Going to have to run full engine beans here to stay in front. And I think we have done that. Right, we're P12, fresh mediums. Hartley's got to get past both of these guys. So that's the difference that a good pit stop makes. So now let's try and pull away if we can from these guys. Right, cars in the pit lane. It looks like it's just Grosjean for now. I'm trying to pull away. I'm trying to break away because Van Dorn's getting DRS off of me. And I can't really shake him off. Having said that, Hartley's now having to get past him. So that's my cue to pull away again. Right, we're going to burn off the last bit of rich mix here. I'm hoping I've done enough to get away from Hartley's DRS. He's a second away as we set a personal best of a 1:28.7. Now Van Dorn's actually coming back at him, which is perfect. It's going to buy me the time that I need to try and pull away. And that has worked out to absolute perfection. There we go, Hartley and Van Dorn battling now. We should have the gap. Oh, VSC deployed. Not sure what happened there, but I don't mind. We get a chance to save things. Didn't really notice, but I think under that VSC, I think Gasly just came into the pit lane. I'm not sure if anyone else did, but chances of points mark has been severely compromised by that VSC. I didn't see anyone else in the pit lane, so I didn't think much of it, but looks like some of those guys in front of us have come in. I'm waiting for those final pit stops of the Grand Prix. I'm sure there's still people yet to pit. Here comes Hartley though. He's got the momentum. He's absolutely flown up to the back of me there. I'm going to try and run deep into turn 1 on purpose. Find the momentum around the outside. Inside for turn 3, and there we go. Plenty of grip left on this medium tyre yet, which allows me to compete. Hopefully Hartley now can get on the back foot and Van Dorn can try and pass him. That's what I need. I need to shake off Hartley again. Right then, looks like we've got the final guys on pit stops in the pit lane. Sainz in there. We've also got Verstappen and also Valtteri Bottas, my teammate. There he is, leaving the pit lane right now. He's going to rejoin just behind or alongside me. There we go. Hopefully he can battle with Hartley for a bit and try and have a bit of a scrap. Hartley has come out in front of him, but Bottas has cost him critical time. I need those guys to battle for a little bit. We're now up into 8th place. At the moment, strong pace. Bottas has passed Hartley, but he's not really making much progress. I've also really stepped up my game here. Gap 2.6 seconds, and Hartley's going for the re-overtake. That's how Hartley managed to stay with me. And it's kind of the same thing with Bottas, really. We're down on power, whilst on the other hand, the Toro Rosso is stupidly good for straight line speed. But it's a good chance for me to pull away, and I'm able to comfortably stay in 8th place. Right, in the last couple of laps, Hartley and Bottas have broken away, and they're kind of relaying each other and starting to edge towards me. However, I've managed to save up a full battery of ERS, so whenever they get near to a second gap, I'm going to do a hot lap in hot lap ERS, if that makes sense, and try and re-establish my gap. But right now I'm comfortable in P8 and I'm doing a good job. Okay, the gap is around 2 seconds, but having said that, I'm going to go for it here. I'm going to try and really kill this off. So we're going to do a lap in hot lap here, maybe even 2, and try and really get the gap out to Hartley. There we go, personal best 28.4. Hartley though has broken away and he's catching 1.7. So this is never just yet. Yeah, another personal best. Hartley though 1.4. He's still shaving down the gap. 2 laps to go and I'm about to run out of ERS. Let's get ready, boys. We're going to have to defend a little bit more here. This isn't over just yet. Here comes Hartley then. Very quick indeed. 2 laps to go. We're going to pick up a toe here. Right on the outside of turn 1. Going for the re-overtake. Getting the power on early. Oh, very close. Side by side through turn 3. Hartley gets the job done. Can I come back at him though? Do we have anything left in the tyres? I'm going to try and switch back underneath. A little bit of third gear action. Beautiful switchback. And there we go. Look at that. Every last bit I had in the tyres there. A little bit of third gear action, which I've not really used since qualifying to get that one done. What a fantastic switchback. But now Charles Leclerc has joined in on the party in the other Sauber. Right then, onto the last lap of the Grand Prix. Everything we've got. There goes Hartley. And here comes Leclerc, not too far behind. This time Hartley getting the move done. Back up the inside though. It's a late lunge. I'm not letting it go without a fight. And we take back the position. Admittedly a bit of a dirty lock up there, but I don't really care. A bit like Australia. In the day I came here to win, and the car's at their minutes at the moment, so we need to really outperform ourselves. So far though, it's worked out. Now we've got Leclerc for company though. Right then, into the final sector. Sebastian Vettel wins in Bahrain. We're in high lap mode, just trying to stay ahead of Leclerc, who's got some ridiculous straight line speed. Through the final corner, nursing everything on the power. There we go. We're going to pull to the right hand side. Leclerc will have DRS to the line, but it's not enough. And we finish in a brilliant 8th place for the second race in a row. But this one is way more important and means way more than Australia. What a performance that was.
A great win then for the Maranello team today. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
Oh, I'd say it's just raw pace, plain and simple. I mean, we could sit here and talk about strategy all day, the overtaking, looking after the tyres, but at the end of it all, if you want to win, you need a package that's got the speed over everyone else, and that's exactly what they had today.
And as we can see, it's time for the podium, and as the drivers make their way out, there's a familiar red suit making its way to the top step. Fantastic win for Ferrari.
Right, looking at the final race results, it's a Ferrari 1-2. Sebastian Vettel dominates at Bahrain and Raikkonen follows him through to a second place. Sergio Perez rounds off the podium ahead of Pierre Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo, Esteban Ocon and Marcus Ericsson. A fantastic 7th place for him in the Sauber there. We come home in 8th ahead of Charles Leclerc and Brendan Hartley. Max Verstappen missing out on the points, as does Valtteri Bottas. Those guys on 2-stoppers and just didn't really have the pace. Look at Ferrari, they were on a 2-stop and look how much faster they were. Ferrari's looking like the strong force already this season, and the regulation change doesn't seem to have affected them that badly. But in terms of the driver standings after 2 races, we dropped down to 9th place as Ocon makes good progress. However, it's 2-4 points in a row, which I'm not complaining about. It's consistency. We've scored points in both races. Last year in Australia we got 10th place, and last year in Bahrain we didn't even score any points, so we're already off to a better start than last season. In terms of the constructors though, as you can see, we dropped down to 3rd place as Force India overtake us. Ferrari establishing an early lead early on here, but I know and I'm confident we can turn this around and get back to where we need to be. Myself and Bottas will do the job. It would have been a lot better if it was Hamilton. I think we could have scored a few more points, but I feel confident in Bottas, and I think we can still do the job if we need to. But also equal on points with Red Bull as well, I've just noticed. So it's very, very close early on, and it's looking like a very, very close scrap. But all in all, that was Bahrain. I thoroughly enjoyed that one for a change, and the car was decent. But we're now going to move into the laptop and put on our first upgrade of the season. Right, so here we are on the monitor, and first of all, we have to point out we failed the team goal of scoring 35 points in the championship after just 2 races, which was pretty damn hard in my opinion, but we've only got the 8 to show for, so not great, but we still have 1,700 points to burn. So, first things first, and it's important, I see this needs work because it's the only durability part that's not had any work done to it, and it's starting to really suffer already in terms of wear. So we're going to get that on the car, and it's going to leave us with 470 points, which we will invest hopefully in the next episode in China in hopefully some chassis upgrades. If we can get 1,700 points again, which I do doubt, if we can get 1,400, that's what I'm kind of looking at. We can maybe get that double chassis upgrade which failed, and that would give us a massive boost for Baku. But until then, for China, we're going to have one upgrade in the car, and that is for the reliability on the ICE. But if you guys did enjoy this episode of Career Mode, then please do drop a like on the video. Also, do get subscribed for daily Formula 1 content and turn notifications to not miss a single video from me. And finally, check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. Apart from that, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you in my next one very soon. Until then, goodbye from me.